Hello, and this is Tactica, and this is a Tactica for Orcs in 6th edition, and the unit I am making a Tactica for are the Killa Kanz. Right, I apologise if I cough and sneeze. I am a bit ill, so I must apologise in case I do. And shall we get on with the Ork Killa Kanz now? Now, I know what you're thinking. This model is not a Killa Kanz model, it's not a walking can. However, there's a funny story to it. When the Triarch Stalker model was released for the Necrons, I immediately thought War of the Worlds tripod, and I'm not talking from the Tom Cruise movie, I'm talking from the musical, the CD album cover. And in the centre of the musical CD album cover is a massive walking silver tripod with green bug eyes and like this laser firing at some Victorian cannons. And when I saw the Triarch Stalker, I immediately got jealous and I thought to myself, I want some of them. So I rummaged around and I found a load of Robo Gear bits, and I decided to make some kit bashes and just wham them together to create Killa Kanz, and now I have a lot of Killa Kanz. So I will go through what the Ork Killa Kanz have in war gear options first. The Killa Kanz have a Dreadnought close combat weapon, and you can have them in vehicle squadrons of 1 to 3 Killa Kanz. They are 35 points a model, so they're cheap as chips. Dreadnought close combat weapon doubles the strength, but ignores the initiative penalty because it's a walker, and it counts as a weapon, so if it's weapon destroyed, you can take that off. It's strength 5, so with the Dreadnought close combat weapon, it becomes strength 10. So I'll go through the characteristics now. It is weapon skill 2, it is ballistic skill 3. So it hits on 4s, which is absolutely great. And I know what people are thinking, oh, it's only 4s, it's not Space Marine 3+, I shoot everything. But then again, Space Marines are always meant to be the best of the best of the best. So us Orc players are proud to have our ballistic skill 3, and we should be. Initiative 2, attacks 2, front and side armour is 11, and the rear armour is 10. Now, I know from this codex, this is at the time of this video being made, this is the 4th edition Ork Codex, and it survived for about 2 editions because it was made at the end of 4th edition. So it's a beautifully written codex by Phil Kelly. And Mr. Kelly, if you're watching this, or if you ever do watch this, if you ever have a masterpiece of a codex, I would recommend this book, because this book has aged so beautifully well. Yeah, I know there's a few things like war buggies, nobody usually takes them, or if they do, it's for very fun causes, or Commandos got a bit nerfed in 6th edition, and I know Killa Kanz, as we see here, have been nerfed. But on the plus side, the artillery did rise in massive numbers, and stuff did get better. Burner Boy's got even better, for example. And Gazgul, he's went from medium to actually quite good, actually, in my personal opinion. But anyway, shall we go back to the Killa Kanz? The Killa Kanz options you must take for a ranged weapon are the Big Shooter, Rocket Launcher, Custom Mega Blaster, Scorcher, and Grotzuka with and the war gear, well, the tank options, I'll call it, are the Grot Riggers and the armor plates. So I'll go through the weapons first. Big Shooter, no, your Orc boys can carry that load. Rocket Launchers, I'll save the best till last, let's just say. Custom Mega Blaster, it's a little bit of a melter gun, but it's too expensive. It makes your 35 point model into 55 points, which I'm sure you'd rather spend that 20 points somewhere else. Scorcher, if Killa Kanz could move 12 inches, then I'd be convinced to take them, but so far, no. They're basically a heavy flamer. So the Grotzuka, now I've seen this rise, and I'm still not convinced on taking them. Why? Because I think the Grotzuka is a weapon that you can only choose if it fits what everyone is playing in your local gaming store or against your friends at home. Why am I saying this? Because it's a strength 6 weapon, AP 5, 18-inch range, so it's got medium. It's close to medium range of 24, so it's okay. Heavy 2 blast. Now that means you get 2 small blast templates for those not in the know. I mean, now you think that's great, but in my area, everything's covered with an Aegis defense line. So it's not really the best for me, and I wouldn't advise taking them because I'm seeing quite a bit Aegis defense lines everywhere, or if it's not Aegis defense lines, it's coming right up at you in 3+ power armor, or it's in power armor, or you're going to shoot it, you're going to make a lot of casualties, and it'll get back up from the dead. And I think we all know what Xeno race I'm talking about. I'm looking at you, Necrons. You and your I'll be back rolls. Not reanimation protocol, I'll be back. I'm convinced I'm calling it that from now on. Now, so Grotzukas, I suppose if you're fighting swarms of Nids, oh yes, and that's another enemy that I face, but it's not swarms, it's monster mash. When I'm talking about monsters, I'm talking about, in general, all the Trigons and Tervigons, etc., and Flyrants, so it's not that best of a weapon still. The weapon I most enjoy, and I feel is the best for the Killa Kanz, are the rocket launchers. They're Assault 1, so you can go into Assault after you shoot them. They are AP 3, so they wreck power armor. However, it's not enough to get a bonus on the arm penetration chart, but that's not needed too much for a Killa Kanz. It's 24-inch range, so it's quite a nice range. So when you move it up, it's 24 plus 6, so you've got potential 30-inch threat range. Yes, the range of a Tau gun, if you move it up front towards the target that wants to shoot at. And it's strength 8, so that means it glances a Land Raider on a 6. And I know it's not enough rockets to take it out, but if you get 3 glances on a Land Raider, you've got on 1 hull point already, and I think that's what a lot of people like. Seeing the Land Raider go down to 1 hull point, I certainly enjoy that. Rocket launchers as well. I've said the stat line for the Killa Kanz, and I must say, I know people say they're not good in Assault anymore, they've been nerfed in Assault because Space Marines can throw a croc grenade in the eye and make it explode instead of going for power fist kills, etc, etc. But to be honest, for a Killa Kanz, was it ever necessary for it to go into combat with Power Armor Marines? My opinion is it's Initiative 2, it had 2 attacks only, 3 attacks on the charge. It's only weapon skill 2, so be hitting anything on 5s. So they were made for tank hunting, my opinion. They were always made for tank hunting. They were always made for going up, shoot that Land Raider or Monolith, or the heaviest armour available on the table, that is your opponent's, and then go into Assault straight after. Just like that. And personally, if there are any squads that you really want to tackle with Killa Kanz of blobs of, I'd say go for Termagants. I would say go for Eldar Guardians and possibly Dire Avengers, but I'm not sure if they got Frank Crack Grenades. Necron Warriors, if there are no Lords around. If there are Cablite Warriors, go for them, and Tau Fire Warriors as well as Kroot. Send them into those 5 troops, and I'm sure you'll be able to win a combat with these guys. but that's only if necessary. These guys are tank hunters. They're meant to get there. They're meant to shoot. They're meant to wreck tanks, and that's a better weapon. That's a better role to play for them as, instead of going for infantry wrecker. What else can I say about them? Yes, the war gear tank options. Grot riggers and arm plates. I always take these on my Killa Kanz. Grot riggers, which are basically 5 points, so it's very cheap, so it makes it 40 points a model, plus 15, so that's 55 points. And if I chose a custom Mega Blaster, it would have been 55 plus a bit more. So it's better, cheaper as well, and more efficient. Grot riggers, basically if you get an immobilized result on a 4+, you instantly recover from that immobilized result and you can start walking again. However, you have to do this in your shooting phase instead of shooting the Killa Kanz. That's the only downside to it, but as far as I know, it's a very good option, especially in 6th edition where there's foot sluggers everywhere and you want to get the Killa Kanz moving and pounding everywhere. Armour plates is basically extra armour. Now, extra armour in 6th edition, it goes 1-2, snap fire weapons and still can move. 3 can't fire weapons but can move if I remember correctly. So basically you'll choose to go back to 2, which for a Killa Kanz it's actually quite good. Why? Because, okay, you won't be firing your rocket launcher, but if you're close to that tank, you want to assault that tank. That's all I'm going to leave it there for. I've generally said everything I wanted to say. Let's tally up the points then. For a Killa Kanz with rocket launcher, it is 50 points, plus grot riggers, which is 55, plus armour plates, which is 65 points per model. 65, 120, 130 points for 2, and it won't be too expensive. It'll be a bit expensive, but not too expensive for for a squadron of 3. Blech, sorry. What else can I say? These are meant for tank hunting. That's all I can say about that. And what threats are available for them? Well, the threats. Well, if you've seen the first battle report, which was Orc's Imperial Guard, their main threat is barrage weapons. That is the main threat to me. Why is this? Because barrage weapons do not need line of sight, therefore you can just stay at the back of the corner behind this fully armed building, which you have no line of sight to for your rocket launchers, and just start pounding everywhere. Now, obviously, he has to roll on full ballistic skill, but once he gets that lucky hit, they're going to be wrecked. On a side note, las cannons will be a large threat, and strength 8 or more weapons will be a large threat. Hence why you put a mech with a custom force field near them, so you always get that cover save. So it retains to the main threat that barrage weapons always are, because barrage weapons ignore cover saves. And that's personally what I feel is the main threat. How to get around them? Outflanking Deathcopter squad, or a outflanking commando squad if you're really going cheap for a knob and pout with a power claw, so you can start busting up those basilisks at the back with a manticore. Yep, I think that's all I can really say about the Killa Kanz. I know I've got more, so after this, as I have promised, I think I have promised, I will show you all my tripod War of the World Killa Kanz walkers. You've seen this guy. I'll just place him on the floor. This is the second guy on a Fantascape base, with a large claw, rockets everywhere. Large claw made out of legs, because orcs loot anything and they just grab stuff and cobble them together. Doesn't matter what they look like, as long as it kills things or breaks stuff. That's what orcs enjoy most. And this guy, which I quite happily like this model, if it focuses. Focus, young one. Focus. Oh well. Well, as we see here, it's got 2 chainsaw blades and a buzzsaw. And I like that conversion. It's nice, I like it. I know it's a basic paint job, but it's perfect for wargaming standards. And a big rocket launcher, because I think people, especially old veterans, can recognise it as an old Rogue Trader rocket launcher, to be fair. And this was an actual RoboGear piece. So, hey. And the last one, which is a rocket here, strapped on with a little guider in hopes, and a massive fist with a buzzsaw in, and some random buzzsaw pieces there, as well as iconography and a bit of a truck on the back, just all cobbled together on top of a Fantascape base, which I absolutely love, and a bit of a Killa Kanz iPad from the Death Dread kit, if I remember correctly, and more iconography. So this is typical Argonian with a Tactica for Killa Kanz. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe.